Just because it looks good on paper doesn't mean it feels good in the heart. I realized in that moment, I felt four things: lonely, unfulfilled, disconnected, insecure. And I realized I had to fix this about myself, or else they were going to put me in the places again. My dear friend Howard Becker, he's VP of membership for the State Business Council of New York. He operates out of Albany and advocates on behalf of all the Fortune 50 companies based out of New York in Albany. And so he comes down to New York to do business. And I say, "Oh, Howard, where do you bring your clients when it's time to meet with them, with your members? Where's your office?" And he said, "Oh, I don't have an office in New York City. I travel to visit them, because when you visit them, you get a chance to see the pictures on the wall, the photo albums on the desk, the signed baseball on the mantle, and you really get to know a lot about people during that." Well, I would argue that now when you're trying to sell into someone who's got 3 kids on his lap, wife yelling at him from the kitchen, all these things going on, you develop greater empathy for your customers now more than ever before. Guaranteed. Yeah. And we know that when you bring that emotion, that empathy into a B2B sale, you increase upsell, cross-sell revenue referrals. You develop greater lasting loyalty for many years to come by penetrating your customer base and meeting them where they are. That's it.
So you do all these amazing things, Chris, and you're bringing people together, and you're living your life where you're inviting other people to dinner, right? Like you're having like this whole change moment from what you brought up at the beginning. But I'm really curious, like what was the changing moment? Because it wasn't always this way, right? I mean, you can maybe tell people like what it was like before, and then let's talk about how you decided to live this way.
Totally. So imagine, so my life from 2011, okay. So childhood, ADHD, hyperactive kid, bouncing off all the walls. My first memories are of like me being in a room, like they would put me in rooms away from the other kids, with these single-sided mirrors, so I could see what the kids were doing, but the kids couldn't see me.
Where is this? At school?
This was like Montessori, literally.
Oh my gosh.
This was literally Montessori school. And then a now friend of mine, Ned Hallowell, who's the world's foremost expert on ADHD, came out with his book, Driven to Distraction. And he, all these parents got knowledgeable about ADHD, so they put me on the medicine, and essentially that like ruined my creativity. It put like, blinders on me. And so that was my entire youth. And so then I tried running away from that, and, that got me in trouble. So then they threw me in like, the rehabs, and then the jails, and then out of the schools, and then into these different places. And then I eventually made my way to New York City, where I got randomly involved in theater. So theater was my life from 2011 to 2015. Was really good at it. We were entertaining millions of people. We're building social campaigns with tens of millions of people. Everything looked great on paper. But in July of 2015, I just come back to New York after producing a Broadway play over in Italy. And when I got back to New York City, I realized all of that ain't shit. Just because it looks good on paper doesn't mean it feels good in the heart. I realized in that moment, I felt four things: lonely, unfulfilled, disconnected, insecure. And I realized I had to fix this about myself, or else they were going to put me in the places again. So I thought back, what changed me the most about it? Like Italy changed my life. Well, what was it? It was the food. So I started fiddling around in my kitchen, creating all these different recipes, and out popped a simple pasta sauce. And I said, okay, it's pretty good, but I should probably feed it to people to see if it's really good or not.
Right.
So I started hosting dinners every week, 15 to 20 folks would pile into my 350 square foot studio apartment at the time. And we'd have dinner. 6:30 p.m. cocktails would begin. 8 p.m. dinner was served. But at 7:47 p.m., now the name of my company, we put the pasta in the pot and delegated all these tasks to really get everybody to work together to create the meal. So drink together, eat together, work together, which sets the table for gratitude. And at that very first dinner, we asked a very simple question. If you could give credit or thanks to one person in your life that you don't give enough credit or thanks to, who would that be? And through all of that hard work, all the drinking and eating and talking, people came alive. They told stories. They cried. They transformed. I love the feeling of hosting. I love the feeling of not being the last one called to the party. So I just kept on doing it. And eventually we got so good that companies took notice and they called on us to, do our stuff. So we're sitting there feeding everybody every week and realizing that, this great childhood insecurity I talked about earlier is that I was always the last one called to the party. But now I got this magical pasta sauce. Now I got this gratitude question. And now the people come to me. And the really neat thing was 2 a.m. on a Monday in February of 2016, I woke up in my bed, bawling my eyes out, realizing for the first time in my life, okay, this is joy. This is meaning. This is connection. And, once I found that, I knew I couldn't afford not to continue down that path. And so we just kept up with the dinners. And here we are, a couple hundred dinners later, 400,000 relationships sparked, and a little company around it.
Hey there, I want to give you something really big. It's called Clear Path to Customers. It's the way that we get the right language to get the right client. I like to call them your wow clients so that you can have more results, more revenue, more raving fans, and more referrals. And I want to give this to you absolutely free. And all you have to do is go to stevenapolitan.com to check it out, or you can look at the description here. We'll put the details there. As always, remember, choose gratitude and create freedom.